Hello everyone, welcome back to the Python Now YouTube channel. Here I explain Python in simple words. This is the second part of our video series about functions. If you haven't watched the first part yet, you can find a link to it in the top right corner of the screen or in the description below. In the previous video, I explained what a function is, how to create and call it, and how to pass parameters. Today, I will show you some examples of functions and we will go over the concept of return statements in functions. We will explore what they are and why they are important. Let's say you want to create a function defined as add with two parameters x and y. This function will add these two parameters and return the result. To store the result of the addition, we need to assign it to a variable. Let's call it z. We can then print the value of x, y, z to the console. Now when we call a function add with two integer arguments 5 and 7, we will receive the result of concatenation of these two parameters by printing it to the console. We can also call the function with string arguments like hi and all, and the function will concatenate the two strings. Why do we need a function that does not return anything? Currently we see the result of our addition, but only because we printed it to the console using print. But what if we need to continue writing code and use the output somewhere else? What should we do? For this purpose, there is word return in the function. It tells the interpreter, when I call the function, I need execute the code block inside of it and return the result. Return is usually written at the end after the code block, in our case after the addition is performed. Now, when we call the add function with the same arguments, we will not see anything in the console, since we no longer have a print. Our function did something and receives a result. To see it in the console, there are two ways. The first is to save the result in a variable and use the print to output the value of the variable. Second is to call this function directly in the print statement. In summary, we can write various functions that perform different actions. For example, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. All of them are very similar, differing only in name and the action between the parameters inside. And don't forget that to call a function you need to use its name and parentheses and specify parameters if required. Here we have defined four functions. Each function takes two parameters, performs the specified operation on them, and returns the result. For example, if we call multiply, the function will return the result of multiplying 2 and 5, which is 10. And the last example to remember the new information better. Let's create a function called main_for and let this function take first name, last name and age as arguments. What do I want this function to do? I want to return a string where all input arguments will be substituted in the right places. For convenience, I will create a variable called result where I will put my message in a string. Then use fstring. About fstring we will talk in the next lesson. In the string I will add arguments fname, which stands for first name, last name, and age. And don't forget to write at the end the function should return a variable result, where a string is located. This function can be called later in the program with three arguments, in the same order as defined in the function. First name string, last name string, and age integer. When the function is called, it returns the formatted string with the input values substituted in the correct places. To see the output, we will print it. You will constantly use functions in your day-to-day work, so I recommend properly understand them and practice with the task that I will leave in the description below this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give it a thumb up. See you in the next video.